So I just wanted to quickly demonstrate why you're never supposed to put a winter coat on your child in their car seat. I think there's probably a lot of people that don't even know you're not supposed to do this because it's kind of hard sometimes to know these things if no one tells you, because most people don't take like car seat classes or whatever, and they just don't know any better. So with winter coming, a lot of people will probably make this mistake and not even realize they're doing it. But I'm going to show you what happens if you put a winter coat on your child when you put them in their car seat. And let me add this as well. The chest clip is always supposed to be up at armpit level. I see a lot of people having them way down here, and they're supposed to be way up here. And then the straps are supposed to be tight enough to where you can't take the strap and fold it over like that. If you can do that, it's too loose, so you need to continue to tighten until you can no longer do that. I can still do it a little bit, so I'm going to tighten it a little bit more. Alright, that's nice and snug now. I can barely move the chest clip. And let me add this as well. So chest clip at armpit level, and then if your child is forward facing, the straps should be at or above shoulder level, and if they're rear facing, they should be at or below shoulder level. And I would like to say also that rear facing past 1 year and 20 pounds is 5 times safer than forward facing. Just because your child turns 1 and is 20 pounds does not mean that you have to rush to turn them forward. You can, and if that ends up being what works best for you for whatever reason, that's a decision you have to make for yourself, but it is 5 times safer for them to be rear facing, and car crashes are the #1 killer of children. More than any other type of incident that can happen to a child, car accidents are the #1. So let's get back to this. So I have the child in here with a winter coat. They appear to be nice and safe and tight, buckled properly, but what actually happens in a crash is the coat will compress, just like a pillow or a blanket. If you fold it over and squish it, it'll compress. And the same thing will happen to a child in the force of a crash. The coat will compress, and it will leave all this empty space between them and their straps. And what can happen is the chest clip could be slid down, and the straps literally can come off, and they can be ejected from their seat, just like that in a crash. And if you've ever been in a crash, you know the incredible force that a crash has on the body. It literally can just rip them right out of their car seat if they have that coat on. Gee, I'm really kind of slamming that bunny around. But what you can do if you're worried about them being cold is you can put them in their coat when you bring them out to the car, just like you normally would be with a hat and gloves and all that. You can quickly take their coat off just to buckle them in, and then you can take their coat and put it on backwards with their arms through the sleeves so that they can still use their arms. And then the coat can lay on their lap like a blanket, and then they'll be nice and warm. Or you can use blankets, or you can even buy a car seat poncho that has like a hole for their head and a hood that you can put over it. And it's a poncho that lays over the car seat to add warmth to them. You can buy those on Etsy. You could probably make one yourself, or like I said, you can just use their coat or a blanket. And then when you are wherever you're going, you can unbuckle them and put their coat back on quick when you get out of the car so that they're not cold. But please don't ever put a coat on your child when they're in their car seat in the car, because it can literally make the difference between life and death in a crash. So I just thought I would share that because some people may not even realize that they're doing that. I made that mistake with Bryce and Braden because I didn't know any better. I had no clue you weren't supposed to do that. And I look back at pictures I have of Bryce with his winter coat on, and you can just see the straps like barely even going over his coat because it's so big and bulky, and I had no idea that I was driving around with him so incredibly unsafe, and I didn't know any better. So I just thought I would pass that on with winter coming. If you have a remote start, that's even better, but if you don't, you can do those other things I said and keep your child safe and warm at the same time.